This is the 12 match races of Christmas, where us, the Triple Clowns, present to you some dream matchups. We are constantly working on original and I think groundbreaking horse racing shows that are informative and also, at the end of the day, fun, guys. So hit that like, subscribe button, and that notification bell. Also follow us on Twitter at Clowns Triple and all other social media platforms, because we are going to bring you new shows. That's right, new shows that include horse racing conspiracies and odd stories, handicapping 101. We're going to do live picks from the track, and of course, our show where we interview great guests and we do some horse racing skits that are a good time. Support us so we can keep going, trailblazing in the horse racing industry. From AJ Ryder, Sarah Marie, and of course, myself, G. Randall Johnson. Happy holidays, and let's get it on with the 12 match races of Christmas. All right, so everybody, and this is exciting. This is exciting to us on our 12 match races of Christmas, which, mind you, I do want to tell people out there, because we already got some stuff about this. We know that the 12 days of Christmas starts on Christmas, but we're giving you this before Christmas. Okay, everybody? Yeah. But I am excited about our next guest, because this is our first person we're going to have on doing this that hasn't been on the show before. And this is somebody we've always wanted on the show. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows him.
Watched for years.
Watched him for years, and everybody knows him out there, because I will say he is one of the two, and we've had the other one on the show, that I would call him the TV OG.
There you go.
And I think that would be an apt way of putting it, I believe. And that is the one, the only Matt Carothers. Matt, thank you so much for coming on the show, and welcome, and nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you guys as well. Yeah, I know Todd's done your show several times. I saw that Joyce was on it about 6 weeks ago. You guys, racing is about, it's a serious game. It's about gambling. It's about making money. But once you've done the work the night before, the morning of, you might as well have fun while you're betting, right, or talking about it. And so I know that's what you guys do. So I'm all about, hopefully making some money when the gambling takes place. But having a good time. Don't take yourself too seriously. I mean, you have bad beats, you're upset for 5 minutes, move on. There's always that next race, right?
Absolutely, Matt. We appreciate that. Thank you. And we appreciate you coming on. And this is an honor to have you on here. And we're going to get right into it, because we put out the matchup of John Henry, Matt Carothers' favorite horse of all time, John Henry, against the one, the only,
the people's horse,
the people's champion. If you smell what Matt is cooking, the people's champion, John Henry. AJ, I know you like that one a little bit. All right, again,
I could have done without
the one and only Triple Crown winner, Affirmed. Let's go to the tail of the tape. And in the blue corner, hailing from Paris, Kentucky, with an incredible record of 83 starts, 39 wins, 15 seconds, and 9/3. His major wins include the Round Table Handicap, Hialeah Turf Cup Handicap, San Gabriel Handicap, 3-time Oak Tree Turf Champion, Hollywood Invitational Handicap 3 times, 2-time winner of the San Luis Rey Handicap, 2-time winner of the Santa Anita Handicap, 2-time winner of the Arlington Million, the Jockey Gold Cup, Turf Classic Invitational, the Sunset Handicap. He was your United States Horse of the Year in 1981 and 1984, John Henry. And in the red corner, hailing from Florida with an impressive record of 29 starts, 22 wins, 5 seconds, and 3/3. His major wins include the Youthful Stakes, Hollywood Juvenile Championship, Sanford Stakes, Hopeful Stakes, Futurity Stakes, Laurel Futurity Stakes, San Felipe Stakes, Santa Anita Derby, Hollywood Derby, Jim Dandy Stakes, Shrub Stakes, Santa Anita Handicap, California Stakes, Hollywood Gold Cut, Woodward Stakes, Jockey Gold Club, and your 1978 Triple Crown winner, also the Eclipse Award winning horse from 1978, 77, and 79. This is Affirmed. Okay, AJ, for the rules for Matt,
All right. Well, our contest consists of 3 rounds. The first round, each contestant in our show will have an opportunity to present their opening argument. Each opening argument will be limited to 1 minute only. The second round is a Q&A with the judges. Each judges will get an opportunity to ask each contestant as many questions about each horse as they'd like. There is no time limit on this round. The final round consists of a free-for-all battle royale lasting 1 minute 30 seconds, where each contestant goes back and forth presenting their argument, and well, we'll just see what happens then. And at the end of the 3 rounds, the remaining 2 judges will then confer and decide our winner.
Matt, here's the deal, and here's the hardest thing you're going to have to come up with today, other than trying to argue with us, because that's not going to be hard, is you have to pick one of the clowns to go against. Obviously, you have AJ Ryder over in that corner. You have me and Sarah over here. You have to pick one of the clowns to go against. Who do you want?
Wow. Who do I want to go against here? This is a tough one. I think I'm gonna go Randy.
All right.
I'm gonna go Randy.
All right. I gotta get ready. Matt Carothers just picked me.
Randy.
I gotta get up there and do that. All right.
I feel like I know you better, Sarah, because you're the one who reached out to me for this. So now I need to know Randy a little bit better, kind of even things out.
I saved my butt there, didn't I?
All right. So, Matt, would you like to go first for the opening argument, or would you like me to go first?
I'll go first.
Wow.
Oh, first person.
How does it first?
All right.
Interesting strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out.
This
All
sucks
right.
because I have to rebut what he said.
Yes,
Usually
you
I just have
do.
something planned. But okay.
All right,
I'm
let's
not
start
gonna listen.
round 1. AJ, you want to hit the clock for us?
All right, Matt, your time begins right now.
All right. First off, how about John Henry's lifetime past performances? I have his lifetime past performances. When he retired in 1984, he was Horse of the Year at the age of 9. Jay Hubdy, the great Jay Hubdy, wrote an article. My mom's had it framed for me wherever I've lived since 1984. This has been with me. That's the kind of fan I'm of John Henry. Horse of the Year 3 times. His big years were his 5- and 6-year-old campaigns where he was 16 for 22. He won 8 grade 1s, really 9 grade 1s, right? The Arlington Million wasn't a grade 1 yet, but it was the first $1 million event. By the way, he won that race twice. He was second in it once. He was probably a better grass horse than dirt horse, but much more versatile than Affirmed. He had speed in the beginning of his career. He could close in the latter part of his career. He still won the Big Cat twice in sub 2 minutes. I think 59-1, 59-2, 59 flat. Some of the all-time great riders rode him: McCarron, Shoemaker, McCarg, Pinkai, Cordero. He's a great story too. Sold for $25,000 to Sam Rubin in 1978, May of 78. He wasn't very good. He was running at Jefferson Downs, a track that I used to go to outside of New Orleans. And all of a sudden he became the best horse in the country, a 3-time Eclipse Award winner, and the most popular horse of all time.
Whoa. Did you just say that? Out loud?
Hold
Okay,
it,
let me go. Okay.
Keep that in. All right, AJ.
All right, Randy, your time begins now.
First off, most famous horse of all time. I think there's a horse named Secretary that would argue with you about that. Number one. Yes, he was more versatile because he had to be, because he couldn't hang with Affirmed. We're talking about horses that were born 15 days apart. So this isn't that far off of what we usually do. We have a Triple Crown winner with this. John Henry didn't do that. Yeah, we can say he peaked at a later time.
Everyone won the Triple Crown then. Everyone won the Triple Crown then.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So, but listen, he ran till he was 4 years old, had 15 grade 1 wins, 14, grade 1 wins to John Henry's 16. He raced till he was 4. John Henry raced till he was 47, I'm pretty sure. And it took him, I think it was, 53 more starts to get 2 more grade 1 wins? Come on, that is crazy. If you, Matt, I don't know if you're a football fan or not, but I'll put this out there. This is like Barry Sanders or Emmitt Smith. Who do you think is a better running back? And guess what everybody's going to say? You have a compiler against a stud. And that's what it's going to be. And that's John Henry. John Henry is a very nice horse. I mean, if this was turf, I don't even know if it'd be different. I'm going to say that. I don't even know if it'd be different on turf. I'm going to throw Affirmed on turf. Affirmed at Alidar. I mean, let's just face it. I mean, they have one No,
you finish your sentence.
All right, one common opponent. Darby Check Road.
Creek Road.
He beat John Henry, right? Affirmed beat him by 13. Just
I think it's Darby Creek Road, I think.
Is it Creed?
Creek.
Yeah, I think I said Cheek Road. Yeah, I wrote it down.
It's Darby Creek Road.
All right.
I'm not that smart.
Woo! I feel like you stop breathing when you get going. Like, I'm almost worried after the minute.
I had to bring something to Matt. I knew, like, this is something I knew if he picked me, I had to bring it. I had to bring the heat here. All right, so
what happens now?
So next round is these guys ask us questions.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yes. Round 2 is a cross-examination from both AJ and I. AJ, would you like to get started?
Yeah, I wanted to check a couple of facts there on the Darby Creek Road. Just wanted to double check because Randy's notorious for throwing out things I don't even know if it's true. All right, so I guess a big difference between these two is obviously, like Randy alluded to, Affirmed ran till he's 4, John Henry all the way till he's 9. Now this is a match race at a mile and a quarter between the two. Are you about what period of time would you pull like John Henry's peak performance to battle against, what is probably like the Triple Crown run for Affirmed?
Well, that's the beauty of John Henry. I mean, he won his last, I think it's his, let me see, I have my lifetime PPs here. he won his last 4 starts. He won 6 of his last 7 at the age of 9. That's what was horse of the year, but he was better at 5 and 6. As I mentioned, he was 16 for 22 in those 2 years. And they were all grade 1 races. They were turf, they were dirt, they were a mile and a half, they were a mile and a quarter. And he's, as I mentioned before, he's a horse that was a speed horse early, and then he lost his gate speed and became kind of an off the pace type. And that's why in a match race, I'll tell you this, why he has the edge. Affirmed's more one dimensional. If Affirmed wants to go to the lead in the match race, John Henry has the ability to sit off. If Affirmed doesn't want to do that, John Henry can go to the lead. And I don't think Affirmed has the ability to rate. He's more of a one-dimensional type. I think it helps John Henry in a match race because he can do either. Affirmed can only do one.
Interesting point.
Yeah, that is an interesting
Sarah?
point. All right. So as Matt has mentioned that it would have been two grade 1s, because he won the Arlington Million twice, I believe.
Twice, second once.
Yep. Oh, that's correct. Do you feel, I'll go to Randy with this question. I mean, you look at the past races of Affirmed, 14 to 9. Do you think that really says something for that period of time? Like you said, they're both running at the same time frame. Like, these aren't our other match races where the horses are from 2 different genres.
I feel like you're leading me with a softball here, whereas Affirmed won all these in like 2 years. All these races in 2 years.
Well, he has a 2-year-old too.
He did. And he was Eclipse Award winner as a 2-year-old.
He lost to Aladar when he was 2. So
yeah, but he won the Eclipse, I believe, for 2-year-old of the year. I think. Yeah, I think he did. I probably should have that written down, but I believe he did. I think he is a. Hold on. Yes.
Did he win that?
2-year-old colt. Yeah, he was a 2-year-old colt American champion. Yep. So he did win that as a 2-year-old. But I think, yes, I think you're proving my point even more where I just said it. I think what you're saying is it took John Henry longer. And listen, I'm giving all the credit in the world to John Henry. Like I said, I think it's a Cal Ripken Jr. thing. Let's all put sports on here. And I think he was a compiler, and I think he was great. And I did think he peaked at a certain time. But I think if you're asking me, sorry, his effectiveness for a short period of time compared to Affirmed's, no way.
No, I know, but it also, I mean, the story means something, doesn't it? I mean, there's movies about John Henry. It's one of your favorites, probably. John Henry, a steel driving racehorse.
Yeah.
Came out in 2010. We've all seen it, I'm sure. It was a blockbuster. There's no movies about Affirmed. Affirmed, wow, he was bred by Harborview Farm. They owned him. He's this royally bred racehorse by exclusive native.
Hold on that 1 second. We're going to get into this.
Who's a Hall of Famer. John Henry's meat and potatoes. He's blue collar. He came from Jefferson Downs. To go from the bottom to the top, he's like Michael J. Fox in The Secret of My Success. I mean, it's which my uncle wrote, by the way, A.J. Carothers. But
AJ
it's
Carothers?
actually true.
Oh, wow.
So Affirmed had everything, the pedigree, the connections, the notoriety. He was like born in it. He was like, Prince Philip or something, and John Henry was this nothing who came from like poverty basically in the inner city, and all of a sudden he became rich and famous. The story is so much greater with John Henry. That's why he was much more of a fan favorite than Affirmed.
All right, you guys have another question? Because I know Matt wants to go back and forth right now.
AJ, do you? I mean, I have some questions, but I feel like we almost need to just go to round 3.
Well, we should finish the round. Maybe one more piece.
Okay.
All right. So Matt, as you had mentioned with John Henry, that he did train on the East Coast, and when the turf season was over there, they shipped him to the West Coast under a new trainer, and also he had a bunch of really high-rated jockeys on him. Now I know Affirmed had a couple.
Well, Affirmed had to fire their rider, Carothers, because he was so bad in the winter of 1980. They had to get rid of their rider. I mean, if you have a great horse, you have to really have to get rid of your rider. You won the Triple Crown on you. You have to fire that guy.
I think Matt just proved my point right there with so many different riders on John Henry. Matt?
Well, because he traveled.
Why do you have so many riders?
He traveled a lot. Cordero rode him at the Meadowlands. Other riders had certain commitments, but he rode with certain riders for a long time. You mentioned when you raced 83 times. I mean, McCarg rode him for a long time. Shoemaker rode him a lot. McCarron rode him a lot. I mean, Affirmed literally, they fired Steve Carothers because they were losing. They lost 3 in a row in the winter of 1980, and they turned to Lafitte Pincaille, who in my opinion is the greatest rider of all time. But most horses that are great, tell me another horse where the jockey was fired. That wasn't the case with John Henry. They weren't firing riders when there were changes that were being made. So I think there's definitely something to that.
What do you think?
No, I kind of just said that, but that was kind of my thing, and which I think Matt had a good point about, so I'll agree with that. I just wanted to bring that up Lafitte did ride them both, and I wonder what he thinks about this.
And when John Henry went to the West Coast because he was bought by Sam Rubin, and they gelded him. That was his problem. He was a mean son of a bitch. So when early on in his career, he was beyond mean. He wasn't the nicest horse in the world, even when he got gelded. He was really smart, small in stature, but once they gelded him, boom. That's when he got great. And for Mr. Rubin, I mean, he raced 66 times, won 33 races, 16 seconds. He was number 1 in earnings. He set 3 course records on grass. And I do think it's something to look at back then. The fact that we're talking a mile and a quarter on dirt, and he did win the Big Cat twice. But for a horse to be that great on both surfaces, and we're talking dirt, and he was better on turf. I mean, he's obviously the superior racehorse.
Okay.
And my final question, so Matt's mom had John Henry's PPs framed. What did your mom have framed?
I have Vertical Threat.
I framed that.
Okay. No, my mom has actually tried to frame it.
Pimlico a couple of years ago, right? Wasn't it off track? I was there for Preakness week, and I think Vertical Threat looked really good. Is that Asmussen?
No. Vertical Threat was he did the Pate Mile. You might be thinking the wrong one. He's the 3-year-old sprinter. He just won in Ohio.
Oh, okay.
He's hurt actually right now. He was going to go to the Malibu. Him and Nashville are the same top buyers in the.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. That's the guy. We have interest in him with my race.
Oh, good.
Yeah. He's a good guy. He's a mean little guy too.
That was all my questions. AJ, Did you have anything else?
Just each of your thoughts on the competition each one of your horses faced during their times.
Oh well.
Go ahead.
Obviously, I mean, this is going to be a question for me that obviously he hasn't faced 7 years of running like the other horse. Well, not 7, but 5 more years of running. So they're going to be more competition. But I mean, I don't think there's an Alydar in John Henry's. I don't believe there is in John Henry's rivalry.
Well, there's a Seattle Slew with Affirmed, but of course he lost to Seattle Slew. So I mean, you have that for you. You lost to a better horse.
Yep. I don't like to bring that up. Okay, thanks, Matt.
I mean, hey, John Henry didn't duck anyone. He went to the Arlington Million. He went to the Meadowlands Cup. He ran in New York. He ran on dirt and turf. He ran against Exceller, who was one of the all-time great horses for Charlie Whittingham. He ran against a great racehorse, look him up, named Tiller. I remember, I think it was the Hollywood Turf Cup. Flying Paster, the horse who was the big 3-year-old the year on the West Coast, the year Spectacular Bid was the big 3-year-old on the East Coast. He was a great racehorse. Don Pierce rode him. He was favored against John Henry on grass. John Henry crushed him. Horses like Bold Tropic, King Go-Go, Relaunch. These are some great horses that he was facing. This is back when grade ones, for both Affirmed and John Henry, back when grade ones were all legitimate grade ones. Now we have grade ones that aren't legitimate grade ones many times. Back then, if it was a grade one, it was legitimate. And there was probably going to be some great horses you're going to have to beat to win that grade one.
Yeah, and I believe Spectacular Bid was a good one that Affirmed won.
We have to strike that from a record. You already had your chance to answer. And
Oh, here we go.
decided not to throw that in there. So
This is so slight.
for our judges, that needs to be stricken from the record.
Okay.
Noted. And all right. I feel like
I forgot about Spectacular Bid.
now is the time.
I know. I set you up for it too.
I know.
For God's sake.
I
I was like, I don't think he's mentioned this at all. Why is this not?
It was actually the best horse I've ever seen in person, Spectacular Bid. I saw him the winter of 1980 there. It's in Southern California.
So
Best
ask
horse I've
Matt
ever
if you
seen.
saw John Henry in person. Ask him.
I have seen John Henry. But look,
See, that means Spectacular Bid is better.
But the debate is affirmed.
oh my gosh. All
The
right.
debate isn't Spectacular Bid. Spectacular Bid was better than both.
All right, let's go. Let's go to the last round.
Yes, let's move on
That was
to
the longest
round
question round we've ever had.
3. This is the Battle Royale. You guys have a minute 30 total to just go against each other.
Okay, Matt, you want to start? Go ahead.
Okay.
All right, ready?
All right.
Ding, ding.
All right. John Henry brought people to the racetrack. There's only a couple other horses who have ever done that. Zenyatta and Seabiscuit. People showed up. They loved John Henry. I was there. I saw it. Throngs of people. They loved this racehorse. They loved his story. They loved where he came from. They loved the fact that unlike this royalty, horses like Affirmed, they had to earn their place. They really had to start out at the bottom and work their way to the top. They were mean. They were
Okay,
tough,
Matt,
they
but
were
this is a match race.
They
Matt,
weren't
this is a match race. We're not talking about tickets sold. We're talking about a match race right now.
Right, and his tenacity and his ability to win photos. I know he beat Aladar Affirmed by a nose in the Belmont, but again, everyone was winning the Triple Crown then. Secretariat 73, Seattle Salute 76. Spectacular Bid would have won it in 70, in 78 had he not stepped on a pin the night before, or 79, excuse me. Affirmed was 78. And Ron Franklin gave him a terrible ride. We would have had like 4 Triple Crown winners in like 6 years. I think John Henry would have intimidated him during the race. He would have gotten the lead. If Affirmed wanted to range up to him, I think those two would have been side by side. I'll go with the horse with the bigger heart, John Henry.
Okay, but so the only thing I have to say about this, and my only part of my argument about that will be that I think if we could ask a horse and he could talk, if he was Mr. Ed.
John Henry was that smart. He almost could talk. I mean, he was a brilliant horse.
No, Matt's getting
Very
ridiculous here. But
Very smart.
no, but I would say if you can ask Alidar how much heart Affirmed had. Like, I mean, we talk about this in versatility and everything like this. I think Alidar would be able to say, this horse, you want to pull up on the side of him, does Affirmed really back down to John Henry? Little John Henry? And I love the fact that John Henry's little. Little John Henry, you think?
John Henry more heart than Aladar, though, for sure. For sure. And there was nobody else.
Okay.
I mean, those horses, it was 2 horses, and Affirmed was this much better than Aladar, and John Henry was this much better than Aladar. So, I mean, I don't know what the margin would have been. I don't know what the margin would have been, but John Henry would have worn him down. And then John Henry would have said, "Let's do it again on grass, big shot. Let's see what you can do on turf. Let's ship around."
All right, is that time? That must be time.
Yeah.
All right.
This is great.
All right, so now you guys need to deliberate. You tell us if anybody changed your mind and what it is. And then, Matt, we go to back and forth how much we like the other horse and what we talked about. That was fun.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the good part about it.
Totally equal out the whole thing. Wow. This was tough, I think. Matt, you had a lot of really solid points. And like you said, John Henry was the people's horse. John Henry brought the people to the track. Affirmed was more of a
They had that Vox Populi thing. He would have won it back then.
I got that right behind me. That's a picture. Right there.
Yes, we do.
It's actually real, I do.
Yeah. And Affirmed had quite the career, but yet you're right. We're talking about 4 years versus 9 years. So John Henry has a lot more under his saddle here as far as career-wise. Affirmed had a lot of really great races. You brought up a lot of really good points. Almost kind of skipped a point there, which was, I think, a really solid point in regards to Spectacular Bid.
Yeah,
That's stricken from the record. Doesn't count. Remember?
That's true.
Can't be
the
taken
jury
into
heard it. The
consideration.
jury heard it. It doesn't matter. Jury heard it.
In my research, I feel like there's another point I probably would have brought up in my own argument, but
What's that?
irregardless, I would have brought up Affirmed's race in the Jim Dandy Stakes.
I didn't have that much time.
Okay. Oh, for Randy. Okay.
Yeah, for Randy. Yeah, not John Henry. So I feel like, I kind of came into this. This is our like golden measurement here.
Oh, but here we go with the measurement stick.
Well, I came in with kind
You
of.
use it too.
I know you use
I'm
it.
stealing my thing.
We all use it. But this is like the Triple Clown official measurement because it's well thought out.
It's just our hands.
Yeah, really scientific. I kind of came into this thinking after my research Affirmed. I was a little bit more leaning heavily on Affirmed than John Henry, but of course, this is all just based off of what you two brought to the table. This isn't based off of our notes. I'm kind of leaning John Henry.
It's funny you said
I
that.
majored in political science and I thought I'd be a lawyer. Can you tell? That's what I'd be doing if I wasn't doing this.
I think
I'd be on trial, Matt, so that's fine.
yeah. Sarah, you said this was close. I don't think it was close at all. I think every great point Randy had, Matt found a way to either debunk or make you just completely forget about it. I love the versatility thing that he brought up with John Henry and the fact that, I brought up competition and your complete lack of, I don't know who he beat. Apparently he beat only Aladar.
I didn't say, I didn't know who he beat.
So, you only brought up one horse, and Matt made a very compelling case for the talent he went against even late in his career. So I thought Matt crushed this. I thought you missed a lot of things, and I think Matt won by a mile.
Oh, here we go. See, this is what I deal with. All right. Okay, so obviously, we'll see what the comments have to say below, everybody.
Yeah,
and you better be
let
nice
us know
to
in
me.
the comments below who you think
these guys are just crazy. But no, but that was great. But before we go, Matt, we do like to talk about it. I do think that was fantastic, first of all. I love John Henry. Hard not to like him. The more I researched him, I feel like California loves him a lot more than growing up in the East. Affirmed, I feel like,
yeah, that's where it became and a little anecdotal story. My dad's father was a horse player. My dad was a horse player. My dad was one of the biggest pick six players in the country back in the 80s. So we lived in West LA, and I remember those Saturday and Sunday, me and Dad would go to the racetrack, and it was so exciting. I was like a 9-10-year-old kid going to the racetrack with my dad, and that drive felt like, remember those drives when you were a kid? They weren't even that long, but they felt like
ever.
It's like the anticipation of getting there. And John Henry, I think he raced a couple of times on the West Coast, and then he went to Hialeah, and he won the Hialeah Turf Cup. And my dad back then, he would book my action. He's not going to go to the window and say, 2 to win on whatever. But I was reading the form at a young age. Mm-hmm. And so I loved John Henry, the San Luis Rey. And it was kind of his coming out party on the West Coast. So we're about the same age, me and John Henry, I think. It's kind of bizarre. I was born in 69, and he's a little younger than I am. He was a 5-year-old.
He's more my age.
So 6 years, if he was alive, he'd be 45. So I had my dad book. I liked him the San Luis Rey, and he was 7-1. And he went wire to wire with Daryl McCarg. So I cashed on John Henry as an 11-year-old kid at Santa Anita with a win bet. And I started getting better at it. And so my dad started I should make a bet here. I was betting 10 to win, 20 to win. You get a 20 to 1 shot that wins and you have 10 to win on it. You kind of stop booking the action. But that's kind of why I fell in love with him. I bet him with McCarg, and he went wire to wire. So I kind of felt like he became this great horse, and I kind of knew something about him right away. When I was 11 years old, I bet him before everyone else knew how good he was. So for that standpoint, then I saw him in person a bunch of times. But in terms of Affirmed, he was unbelievable. I actually saw they brought him back to Hollywood Park after he retired, and I was there that day when they just kind of go on the racetrack, and Pinkai was aboard, and they kind of waved, and it was a little tribute to Affirmed. But he was a truly great racehorse, and I appreciate you giving me the win here with John Henry, but really a mile and a quarter on
Yeah,
dirt.
no kidding.
Dirt.
It's based off the arguments, man.
I know.
Whatever.
your ability
Even
to
based off
totally
my
discredit winning a Triple Crown
You
was
guys
the
hate
best.
I feel like you missed
It was so easy back then. Everyone
really
was doing
good
it.
It wasn't
comebacks
that big
you
of a
coulda
deal
had.
back in the 70s.
There we go. There we go.
When Matt tried to bury you with,
They want you on the show again,
I
Matt.
know,
This is
dude.
what it is.
But yeah, we're just
This is
no,
all it is.
but
They're
I
trying
feel
to
like,
swap you too. Is
See,
what
but
we're
now, I'm gonna do what Randy always does to AJ. Well, why didn't you say this? Why didn't you say it's hard? Because it's time. Because you missed a pretty good rebuttal when Matt said, "Oh,
I'm going against Matt Carothers. Do you hear him talk about
You
things?
let him
Okay,
disregard
hold
the fact
on.
he's a Triple Crown winner. Like you let him disregard that. That is
You
terrible.
want to know
I
why?"
said Triple Crown winner?
And the jockey
Oh
club.
yeah, he just busted up.
Hold on, hold on.
Cheek,
My turn.
too.
In the Jockey Club Gold Cup, he lost to Seattle Slew because his saddle had slipped. Huge thing. Huge point.
Well, after somebody says
And that's the
everybody won the
second
Triple
time.
Crown back then, like it was like they handed it out.
Still, you throw that out there. The Jim Dandy Stakes. I mean, that was like my big bullet point.
Wow.
If you were gonna pick me, the Jim Dandy Stakes was like my gun in the barrel because.
Bullet.
Oh yeah, I just shoot guns. Obviously, I'm that kind of.
There's a big gun shooter.
Watch
You need a
that
holster, I
race.
think,
It
for
is
your
the
gun.
most, it is such an impressive race. I mean,
Is that what I would say?
Sensitive-
Watch this race.
no.
Do we have time
Sensitive
for that?
Prince was ahead in that race by 12 lengths. It looked like Affirmed had no shot in hell.
The thing I would have said if I was you was I think after they got rid of Cawthon, because I mean Cawthon couldn't win a race. I mean he was just
Yeah, he
awful.
fizzled out.
But I'll give him credit. He went to England and rode for the Queen and became a great rider in Europe. So I'll give Cawthon credit. He was like a 19-year-old kid when he was riding
Yeah.
Affirmed. I think the pressure got to him. But I believe they switched back to Pinkai and they went 10 for 10 to end his career.
Yeah.
That's a point you probably should have brought up.
Yeah.
Thanks,
that
guys.
too.
I'm glad everybody can tell me I suck. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to go and drink right now. What time is it? So that was it. I got it handed to me again. I feel like these judges are slighted. I know AJ hates me. I'm starting to feel Sarah hates me even more than I thought. But Matt Carothers did a great job, obviously.
He did.
And we always put ourselves behind the 8 ball because they're just plain old smarter than us. And let's face it, Matt, this is an honor to go against you with this. And hopefully we have you on our
My
show
pleasure.
and we can talk and tell stories, and we do a lot of funny things. And hopefully we get you on again. But happy holidays, Matt. To you and your family, and we'll see you soon. Obviously
We'll
on
see you on TVG.
TV, and we might see you at the track as well because we are around it now.
Okay.
And whenever
when
we
we
can
can
go
go.
back.
But yeah, so thank you so much, Matt. That was fun. That
Yes.
was
That
fun.
was fun. AJ, thanks. Nice meeting you. Randy, nice chatting with you. Sarah, nice meeting you after our conversation via text.
Yeah.
It was fun. I love talking about some of the great horses of all time. And you have my number, so anytime. Anytime you need me, I'm available.
All right.
Awesome.
Sounds good. We'll call you right in the middle of one of your TVG programs, and we hope you're going to be on. But no, anyway, Matt, thank you so much. It was a great time. Thanks for taking the time out to join
Yep.
us, and happy holidays.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Matt, nice meeting you.
Triple Clowns is a production of the team at Big Umbrella. Rate and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts. Send us your questions at tripleclowns@gmail.com and you may be featured on a future episode. Follow us on social media at ClownsTriple on Twitter and Instagram, and follow me, AJ Ryder, at Troy McClain WWE on Twitter. Like and subscribe to our show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. All right, guys, for AJ Ryder, I'm out of here. See you later, everybody.